Living for so many years in the US, I've already had a lot of different kinds of credit cards, and I've already bought a car, and I've already bought a house. And financially, I'm telling you, there is nothing more important than your credit score. Every few points that you lose on your credit score basically affects the rate of interest that you're going to get when you go and try to buy a car, and ultimately when you go try to buy a house. So I would highly recommend you guys to work on your credit score and try to take it to as close as you can to 850. If you are somebody who is coming to the US for your higher education, or if you have already completed your higher education and been in the US for a while, then this video is for you. This is also super applicable to anybody who is coming to the US directly for work, which means if you're coming into the US on H1B, L1 or green card and you're coming straight to work in the US, then please watch this video until the end. Hey guys, my name is Mayank. I have been living in the US for past 8 years, and this is all the knowledge I've acquired through my experience living in the US about credit score. I will also talk about the mistakes which I did as an international student initially, and then as a working professional while living in the US, and I don't want you to do the same mistake, so please stay tuned for this video. So first thing you need to understand is what is a credit score. Basically a number between 300 and 850. Anything below 670 is a poor credit score. Anything between 670 and 739 is a good credit. 740 to 799 is a very good credit score, and if you are above 799 then it's exceptional. And it's a number which is very frequently used by lenders to determine if you are likely to pay your debt or not. But here is the fun fact, it's not just limited to paying your debt, it's also applicable to paying your rent, paying your utilities, and a bunch of other stuff. Your credit score also determines what all kinds of loans you can get. Either you're eligible to get a home loan or a car loan or an education loan. This all depends on your credit score. Now, what is the one most important thing that you need when you come to the US? That is housing. And as soon as you come to the US, you would want to find an apartment, and you would want to find one even before coming to the US. And there are a lot of apartment buildings and a lot of apartment companies that basically would want to run your credit check. And what that means is they want to know how likely you are to pay the rent and what are the chances that you may not be able to pay the rent. Again, if you have been living in the US for a while, then you would want to buy a car now, or eventually would want to buy a house. So one most important thing which is affected by your credit score, if it is low, then you are likely to get a higher interest rate for certain things, and in some cases you will not be able to buy that thing at all. To give you an example from my personal experience, one of my friend who was coming to the US on H1 visa was not able to find any accommodation. He was moving here with his family, with his wife, and he was trying to get an apartment, and he was not able to find an apartment at all. And that was for one simple reason, because he had no credit score, he had no credit history, because he never ever lived in the US. And it's kind of a deadlock that you never lived in the US, so you never took any kind of loan, which basically means that you have no credit history in the US. And when they try to search your name with the credit bureau, there is no record returned. So this is kind of a very difficult situation for a lot of people, and what they end up doing is they will have to find somebody who already lives in the US and become their guarantor, which means that if that one person is not able to pay their rent, then your guarantor will be liable to pay all that rent according to your lease agreement. Another simple example of how this affects you is going to be when you try to buy a car in the US. Now you go and try to buy the car, and let's say the car costs you around $25,000, and then you obviously cannot pay this whole amount by cash, so you would want to take some loan. And as soon as you try to take that loan or that credit, your credit check will be done with credit bureaus. Again, a lot of car companies and auto lenders might just deny you a car because they think you don't have enough credit score or you do not have enough credit history. So they might just deny you a car, you just cannot take the loan, or they might give you a very high interest rate. Alright, so before we move forward, let me tell you what is a credit bureau. So credit bureaus are basically companies in the US that collect the data from all the creditors, all the companies that give you the loan, and then they provide this data to all the agencies. In short, a credit bureau is a company which basically determines your credit score. They maintain it and they also determine it. So if any lender needs to know what your credit score is, they will go to the bureau and they will ask them, hey, what do you think this guy's credit score is? Okay, now let's talk about what actually determines your credit score. So how do they determine if your credit score should be poor, good, very good, or excellent? The purpose of telling you all of this is basically so you can focus exactly on these factors and improve your credit score, or at least start building a bunch of factors. But there are four main important factors that determine what your credit score is going to be. The number one is your payment history, which means that how many times you have made the payments on time, and if you have missed any payments. So for example, you had a credit card and you missed the monthly payment, then that's a wrong signal, and it basically means that your credit score is gonna go low. Second most important factor in determining your credit score is the length of your credit, which is the oldest one you have and how you are maintaining it. So right here you might say, oh, I just entered the US, so how am I going to have any kind of credit history? And that is correct. And that's where the companies like Zolve come into picture, because they are the ones who give you a credit card card even before coming to the US. And Zolve solves this problem because they give you a credit card even before coming to the US, which means that you can use this amount not just to pay your things, whatever you want to buy when you first get in the US, pay rent or buy stuff, but then also you can build your credit history at the same time. So from day one, when you enter into the US, you start building a credit history. And this is something which I didn't do when I came to the US. I was not able to get a credit card in the US. And once I got an internship, that's when I actually became eligible to get a credit card. And even then, a lot of big banks will not give you a credit card, like Bank of America, Chase, and a bunch of others. But then I was able to get a very basic credit card from a very small bank, which kind of trusted me and gave me a credit card, and I started building my credit history from there. The point is, for all of that 2 years of duration for my education, I was not building a credit history. So I lost that 2 years. So out of 8 years I've lived, I've only really built my credit history for last 6 years. So I feel like it's a very good alternative instead of carrying the cash or trying to transfer money from India to the US in somebody else's bank account, because definitely you do not have one in the US while you're coming for the first time. So you can take a Zolve credit card and they give you a limit of up to $10,000. So you can use that card to pay for your utilities or for your rent or for a lot of other stuff which has to be bought for the first time. For example, your mattresses or tables or desk or whatever that is. So it's a very good dual purpose. You're buying your stuff but also building a credit score. And also you do not carry the risk of carrying the cash in your pocket, which I highly do not recommend. Again, it's super easy to open an account. You do not need an SSN to open this. Basically just need your Indian identifications and you can just use Zolve to create that credit card. Please do check out their website for more information. I'm going to put a link in the description below. You can use that link to get a credit card right now from Zolve before even coming to the US. The other ways you can increase the length of your credit history is to again wait, and as soon as you get eligible, please do not wait anymore and then just get a credit card. Even if you do not use it, it still counts as a credit line which you just created, and then maybe try to use it for like small things. Alright guys, the third factor which determines your credit score is going to be the amount which you owe to a creditor. For example, how much amount do you have on your credit card, or how much is the amount you have on your car loan or house loan or whatever kind of the credit it is. In case of credit cards, they usually suggest that your utilization should be around 30%, so not too much or not too low. So if you have a credit card and you're not using it at all, it's not going to help with your credit score. And if you have a credit card and you're consuming it to the fullest and at the same time making late payments, it's definitely not good for you. And the last factor which determines what your credit score is going to be is basically the types of credits you have. So it's not just about a credit card, or it's not just about an auto loan. It's about different types of loans or different types of credits you have. The more diverse your credit portfolio is, the better it is for you. So have a credit card or 2 or 3, but not a bunch of them. And then also, if you have a car loan and you're paying your loan on time, and then eventually whenever it happens, if you try to go buy a house and make that big decision, that is also going to contribute to your credit score. And you will see it will just shoot up as you add more and more diverse credit lines or credit types in your portfolio. Alright guys, hope this video gave you some information on what is credit score, what are the factors that affect this credit score, and how you can improve your credit score. So one thing I would highly suggest you guys is to basically start building your credit history even before coming to the US by utilizing services like Zolve and some others. And if you're already in the US and have been living in the US, then please make efforts to build a strong credit score, because this is going to be very important when you will make the big decision. Hope this short video was useful for you. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. This is Mayank Ranjan Dayal, over and out.